How's it going, everybody? Shaggy from the Order of Mithril here today, and I'm joined today by a good friend, Denisha.
Hi.
And we're going to be doing a random review of After Party today. After Party is a story-based game from Night School Studio about two friends that find themselves dead and trapped in hell and are now tasked with out drinking and out partying the devil to escape hell and get back home. So, Denisha, tell me what your initial thoughts of the gameplay and the narrative of this game were.
At first, I definitely thought the music was really awesome, and that's what really kind of brought me into it when I downloaded it. I like that it's two college kids that don't quite understand what's going on, and they're trying to figure out why they're even in hell, how did they get there, what happened. I love the feel of the demons getting off of work and not wanting to torture you. The only thing that I really wish was a little bit different was that you had a little bit more ability to roam.
Yeah, I did like the college town attitude that the game has. It does have that sense of like everybody just wants to party, like college kids, but at the same time, they are what people think is going to happen to them after college. They're like just doing that 9-to-5 grind. They don't want to deal with it. They're ready to get off. They're ready to blow off steam. So I enjoyed that aspect of the game as well. So thinking about the audio over the process of the game, what really stood out to you about the audio in this?
So first of all, the music did, and then second of all, the little banter that the two main characters give off. I really like the script from that.
So I really enjoyed the audio mix throughout the entirety of the game that I've played thus far. The music had a very laid back and chilled vibe to it throughout. I really enjoyed the way the characters sounded. They came through clear and concise. You could tell the difference between a human speaking and a demon speaking. Even background noise was done very well. Whenever you pass by a dumpster fire early on, you hear the fire crackling, but it's very low so as not to be overbearing with the characters talking at the time. There's even minute little things that you can catch here and there, like a little bit of rustling of water or wind, but it's just there to add just a touch of depth, but not much. So even though this is a narrative-based game, there are some gameplay mechanics throughout that break up the dialogue exchange pretty evenly. Basically, since it's a game about trying to drink your way out of hell, they have like beer pong, and they have a dance sequence, and a couple other little mini games that you can play to break up the dialogue exchange. Tell me what you liked about those.
I really enjoyed them. I definitely agree it broke up the dialogue exchange and made it a bit more interactive and less just a linear story to follow. My favorite so far has been the dance sequence.
One other little gameplay mechanic that I really enjoyed fit into the dialogue pretty well. So whenever you're talking, you usually have two choices, but if you're drinking at the time, you'll get a third choice. And once you reach hell and you start drinking different types of drinks, you'll get different types of third options, like very boisterous, very arrogant, very schmoozy, if you will, and some downright hostile. What did you think about those other dialogue options?
I thought they were a lot of fun, especially the hostile and witty ones. Those are my favorite to do. I like that it gives you that temporary time period when you are going through the dialogue, so it's a time-sensitive choice.
Now, this is definitely not one of the most graphically demanding games out on the market right now, but I really did appreciate its graphics and its art style throughout what I've played of it so far. I feel like it's got a very cartoony look to it, but it's not overly done. I don't feel like it's almost cliche cartoony. The two main characters stand out no matter what scene that they're in, just by their appearance alone. But the college little party at the beginning, it seemed kind of drab, and I was hoping that it actually did pick up pretty quick. Once you actually get into hell, hell itself is its own character within the game. It has its own sights and sounds that, even as you go through the different districts, they look unique in their own right, but not completely separate from one another. You can tell that it's all hell, but I really did appreciate the way everything looked. Even at one point, whenever you're in Satan's house and you're at his party, you have this little moment where you start walking up the wall and then you're hanging out in a separate room that's suspended from the ceiling. So I like the way that the camera angle took that, because it is a side-scroller, but I feel like that was an interesting twist to give the game a little bit more depth. What did you think about like the art and the graphics for the game?
I love the graphics. The art style gives me a nod to Corpse Bride and Coraline a little bit. I think the two main characters resemble Coraline dolls to me, and similarly, I think Hell reminds me of the underworld when it comes to Corpse Bride and when they actually do fall to their death. I think that Hell is very lively, and like you said, the party in the very beginning is very drab, very dreary, very plain, and then when you come into Hell, you see a lot of bold colors and a lot of drastic contrast, and I really enjoyed that. I thought they did really, really well.
So thinking of the narrative, it wasn't exactly as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be, you basically get dropped into hell and you have to outdrink everybody to work your way up to Satan and then outdrink Satan. But there's actually a little bit more involved in that. So as you're going through it and you start meeting individuals throughout hell, you kind of get the way the place runs. We've obviously already stated that everybody was thinking about, well, I don't want to work this 9 to 5, I'm tired, I'm ready to go drink, you can get tormented tomorrow. But there's also a little bit of internal politics. Obviously, Satan and his generals have had a falling out, and they don't speak anymore, and they've moved to other parts of hell. But even beyond that, like just to try and get an invite to Satan's party, you have to either help one demon catch somebody that's escaped from him, or you have to help a musician that has died find a way to get out of her contract for the night to go play the party so that you can take advantage of her invite to his party. So there's a lot of little bitty twists and turns to try and get to where you can outdrink people. So I like that because it gave it a little bit more depth, because it wasn't just a drinking game that was over glorified with story. But what did you think about the narrative?
I really enjoyed it, particularly the inner demon that you get assigned when you do come into hell. I like that your choices do have consequences. It really relays on the decisions that you make when you might have that third option that we talked about earlier when it comes to your drinking. I helped out the demon for my invite to the party, and I did something wrong. And I found out when my inner demon came to make me feel worse about myself. And I really like that it kind of jabs at your inner insecurities. You're not just there at a party. You have to figure out what the root of you even being there is. And it's a lot more than just drinking with the devil.
See, I was on the opposite side of the narrative. I didn't go help the demon catch the person that got away. I don't even know what that part of the story was like because I didn't experience it. But I did help out the artist, the musician. And so whenever I came to the point where my inner demon came to judge me for it, it was basically lit up in my face that I probably chose the wrong path. And the inner demon did add another layer of narrative, and it gave you a sense that there is some replay value, because you may go back and play it again and do things differently throughout the story, giving you a whole new experience and a different story overall. So I really did enjoy the narrative choices that you could have throughout. Overall, I really liked the way all the parts came together to make this game. We've already said that the audio was very well done with it. The music sounds really great. Even the background and the dialogue just mix in very well. Graphically speaking, the graphics aren't demanding, but the art style supplied looks absolutely amazing, and it does make it stand out a little bit. The replay value comes in pretty high for me because of the different narrative deviations that you can have throughout. I really enjoyed that as well, so it is, in my opinion at least, warranted for a second, maybe even a third playthrough. Overall, with everything that's been said, I would say that it is a must-play if it is a narrative game that you like to play. If it's not, I would say wait to play, maybe put it in your back catalog, but I do think that it's worth a look. So what do you think about the game overall?
I agree. I think it's definitely something that might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's something to look at. I really enjoy that it's not your typical storyline. It's almost more relatable today, especially with the college kids and partying, and you get to shoot the shit with your friends and play a couple of games that are party games, and it's kind of into that college life culture, and I think that's really fun and something that's relatable and easy to kind of get lost in. I definitely think it's a must-play if you are a narrative story game player, and I do think it is something that you should look into if you aren't. I typically like to play games that are a little bit more on the mix of both storyline and shooter gameplay, but I definitely thought that this was something that I could replay a couple of times over, at least maybe 2 or 3 more times with the options that are available. With all that being said, I definitely do think it is a must play, or at least a must put in your watch list.
I think that's all we can really say about After Party today. Really appreciate you doing the video with us today, Denisha. But guys, if you would, go ahead and jump down into that comment section below and let us know what you would like to see from the channel next. Other than that, appreciate you guys stopping by. Hope you have a great one.